Hello everyone, this is a modding related video, and today we are diving into a really useful trick for modding 3D models. So as you might know, when we mod games, we usually replace game's existing 3D model with a new one. But there is one part that causes us problem, and that's materials. We need materials to assign textures to our model, and usually we replace those two. But what happens when our new model has more materials than the original one? Let's say the original model has 2 materials, but your new model has 4. What do you do with the other 2? The game won't recognize them if you don't replace all, and your textures won't show up on your model. Well, here is the trick. You can merge the textures of those extra materials into one image. Then adjust the UV maps of your model to fit the new texture layout. That way you only need one material to all those merged textures. This is super useful for modding, and in this video I am going to show you exactly how to do it, step by step. Let's get started. So, as an example, I am modding a stellar blade, and this is the model I am planning to bring into the game. I'll be replacing it with this original model from the game. Now my new model has 4 materials, but I am going to merge all of them into one single material, and here is how. First thing you need is a 3D model. You can find them on various websites for free. Now this is my model. These are the files that comes with it. I have a 3D model in FBX format, and inside this folder I've got the texture files. Almost every 3D model comes with their own textures, like base color, normal map, roughness, and so on. The first step is to combine all of your base color textures into a single image. You can use Photoshop or any other image editor for this. Open Photoshop, click File, New, and create an image. For 4K, set it to 4096 by 4096 pixels. For 8K, which is what I recommend, set it to 8192 by 8192. Click Create and you'll get a blank canvas. Now drag all your base color textures into this canvas. Open your texture folder, set the window to the side, hold Ctrl and multi-select the base color textures that you want to combine. Drag them all into the Photoshop like this. Click the check mark to place them. You'll now see all the textures inside this Layers panel. Next, select each one using the Move tool, and start resizing and positioning them so they all fit into the single image canvas. Make them a bit smaller, and place each one in a different part of the canvas. It doesn't have to be perfect, you can place them however you want. In my case, I have 4 textures, so I split them into 4 sections and place them evenly. If you have 3 or 5 textures, the method is the same. You can even leave empty space. It's no problem. Just make sure they fit into one single image. The goal is to get all your textures combined into one single image. Once you arranged everything, it's time to export. This is how it looks like when you're done. In the Layers panel, hold Ctrl and select all the textures, all of them. Then right-click and choose Merge Visible. Now let's export. Go to File, Export, Export As. In the Export settings, this menu, choose PNG as the format, or whatever you want. Leave everything else as default, and click Export. Here, give your file a name, whatever you want, and choose a directory to save it. Then save. Give it a few seconds to export. And now you've got your merged base color texture in the directory you saved. This is mine. Before we jump into Blender, make sure to repeat this process for your normal maps, roughness, or any texture types you have. Base color and normal map usually is enough. When merging the other textures, use the exact same layout and the size you used for the base color textures. You can keep the base color atlas open in Photoshop, like this, and use it as your guide to position everything correctly. You can easily tell which normal map is for which base color, and set them up. After you're done, select the base color from the layers and press delete to delete it. Then select all the textures, the normal maps or other formats, and merge them like before, and export it with the exact same settings, but change the file name. Once that's done, you have all your textures, the base color, normal map, and etc. We are ready for the next step. Now open up Blender and make sure your model is imported. First, come to this section, the outliner. Everything you import in Blender, you can see here. This is the armature. If you expand it, you can see the objects. If we expand them to, and this, then we can see the materials for them. These are the materials. Now let's hide the armature and make one working material for all of our objects. Go to the modeling workspace and make sure you're in object mode. Then select your model's objects one at a time. Then switch to edit mode. Press A to select all. Your model's vertices will turn orange. Now right-click, go to Separate, and choose by Materials. This will split the model into different objects based on the materials they were using. Do this for each object in your model, one by one. When you're done, switch back to object mode. Next, switch to the UV editing workspace. It's this one at the top here. Now you'll see two sections. On the right, the 3D viewport with your model in it, and on the left, the UV editor. In the 3D viewer, first make sure you're in object mode, then zoom in and position the camera in a way that you have a clear view of the model. After you've done that, select one of your model's objects. Then switch to edit mode and press A to select all vertices. Now, in the UV editor on the left, you'll see the UV maps for that part of the model. If your texture is already applied, you'll see them here in the background. If not, no problem, you can still edit the UV map. These dots and lines are your UVs. They tell Blender how to map the 2D texture onto your 3D model. You can use box select to grab the UV islands, then move, scale, or rotate them as needed. This is how you line them up with your new merged texture. To see the change in action, on the 3D viewer, change the viewport shading to the material preview. Just hold Z and select material. Now, if you move the UVs in the UV editor, you see the texture move in real time on your model. And press Ctrl+Z to undo your changes. Alright, now let's start adjusting the UVs to match our new texture layout. Let's apply the new texture we created in Photoshop. Come to the shading workspace from top here. In the viewport on the right, adjust the camera and make sure you have a clear view of your model, and make sure you're in material preview. This is where we assign textures for our model. Now, select part of the model you want. Then, in the Properties panel, go to the Material Properties. It's this one here. In this section, you'll see the materials for the object you selected. This is mine. Because we separated the model by material earlier, each part of the model now has only one material. If you select them, you can assign textures to them using these notes sections below. But I am going to create a new material that I'll use it for all the objects we merged texture for. To do that, after selecting the object, go to the material properties and click on this plus icon. Then click New to create a new material. Double click on it and rename it something easy to recognize. Now, make sure it's selected. Now come here and also make sure that Use Nodes is turned on. Next, down in the Nodes section here, you can scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. Press and hold the mouse wheel to pan around. Okay, you should see these default nodes here after you made the material. Now, we are going to add a new node and assign the new texture to it. Click Add, go to Texture, and choose Image Texture. You get this new node. Place it somewhere here. Then click Open. And in this window that pops up, find a new texture file we merged in Photoshop. Choose the base color one. And click Open Image. And it's on. If you click on the node, you'll see the texture in the image editor on this side. Now let's assign it to the BSDF shader. Connect the color output from the image node to the base color input of the principal BSDF node. And that's it, the texture is now assigned to the material. However, because I still have the original material assigned to the 3D model, I don't see the new texture yet. So to fix that, select the original material, if there is one, and click this minus to remove it. Now, the new material will apply. And as you can see, it's working, but the textures doesn't line up properly. And that's why we'll edit the UV maps in the next step. Before that, let's assign this new material to all other objects, the ones that we merge the textures for. To do that, select the objects one by one from the viewport or from the outliner. Then, in the material properties, select the original material for your object. Then click the drop down to see all the materials in your Blender project. Now, find the one we just created, the one with the merged textures. This is the one for me. Select it and assign it, and that's it, they are replaced. Do this for each of the objects that use that merged textures. Okay, now that's done, we can move on to the editing the UVs. Now, from the top bar, go to the UV editing workspace again. Then on the right side in the 3D viewer, set the viewport to object mode. And make sure you have a clear view of your model, like this. Now, select one of the objects of your model. Then switch to edit mode from here. And that part of your model should look like this. Now, press A to select all vertices, like this. Everything should turn orange. Now, on the left side in the UV editor, you see the UV layouts. Here, you can zoom in and out using your scroll wheel and press and hold the scroll wheel to pan around. Okay, as you can see, the UV layouts are not matching. We have to fix that. To do it, press A to select all of them. Then we'll use the transform tools on this side like move, rotate, and scale to match these layouts to our texture. Since we already assigned the materials to our model, the base color texture that we merged in Photoshop will appear in the UV background, and we'll use that to align the UVs as needed. You can also see this working on real time on your 3D model. Just make sure change the viewport to material preview. Now adjust the UVs. And if, for any reason, you don't see the background texture in the UV editor, go to the shading workspace, make sure the texture is actually assigned to the object you're editing, and also select the image texture node for the base color. Then, move on to the UV editor and edit. Now back in UV editing, let's start editing. If you're good with math, you can use this panel here to enter numbers for more precise adjustments of the UVs. That's what I use most of the time, but manual adjustments also work just fine. I select the Move tool and adjust the position a bit. Now, I enter 0.25 for X. Then for Y, I also enter 0.25. But nope, that's wrong. I want to move down, not up. So I enter minus 0.25 instead. Now, it's in the exact spot I want. You can verify it by looking at your 3D model. Okay, perfect. One part is done. Let's move on to the other objects. Switch the viewport to object mode, then choose another object. I'll select out of it this part. Now again, switch to edit mode, press A to select all vertices, then on the left side, just like before, you'll see the UV layouts. Press A to select all and start editing. First, I select the scale tool and scale it a bit. Then, I expand this panel. Now, I change the values to 0.5 for all of them, X, Y, and Z. Why 0.5? Well, it's just math. Let's do the same thing for all other parts. And you can also pick UV layouts separately, like just this part, and move it wherever you want. You don't always need to select all together. It depends on your needs. For me, I need to resize all of them in the same size. Okay, this part is also done. Now the only part is left is the neck. And that's done too. Now, go to the modeling workspace and make sure you're in object mode. Change the viewport to material preview and check your model. If the textures look cracked, like mine, that means your UVs are cracked. And that's it. Right now, we have a 3D model with just one texture file, fully UV mapped and ready to use. But we still have separate objects with individual material assignments. That's not really a problem, because they all use the same material. But if you want, we can join all objects together and just use one single material for them. To do that, select all the objects in the outliner. Hold Ctrl to multi-select. These are my objects. You can also box select them in the 3D viewer. Now, go here, click Object, and choose Join. That will turn everything into a single object. Now, select that object, go to the Material Properties, and as you can see, it only uses one material. However, let's say we want to make a fresh material from scratch. Remove this by selecting it and clicking on minus. Now click plus, then click new, and give it a name. Just make a new material. After that, go to the shading workspace again, and make sure your object and the material are both selected. Now, you'll see the default nodes here. Add an image texture node, just like before. Place it here. Click Open, and locate the merged texture from Photoshop. This is it. Once it's selected, connect the color output of the texture node to the base color input of the principal BSDF shader. Now the whole model will be textured because all the UVs are already adjusted to support this texture, which is assigned to this material, and this material assigned to the all model. And that's how you do it. Now, what about our normal map or any other texture we merged? Well, since the UVs are already edited, the only thing you need to do is also assign those textures in this material. To add a normal map to this, add another image texture node and load the normal map this time. Then add a normal map node from vector category. This is an extra step, like this. Connect the image texture to the normal map node, then connect the normal map node to the normal input on the principal BSDF. Finally, change the color space of the image texture to non-color and done. The UVs are already support this, because all of the textures were merged identically. Now, this 3D model we have is ready to export and be used in our modding project. After you pause and weight paint the model, just add one of the original model's materials to it, and then import it into Unreal Engine for modding. We are only going to use that one original material from the game to replace the whole model's textures. If you've watched my modding videos, you know exactly what I mean by that. What we did here was the most simple and efficient method for modding, especially when there is no support for custom materials in the Unreal Engine game you're modding. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, ask in comments. Thanks for watching and good luck.
Day 52, after the second dive. 5th record.